Friends, I'm glad to welcome you on our today's session. We'll talk about the AV over IP technology, considering the KDS-7 series, and I'll show you some presentation slides, and then we'll switch over to our video wall, and I'll show you some of the equipment in action. Okay. If you can hear and see me well, please react somehow, type something into the chat, in order just to know that everyone hears me and everyone sees me as well. Oh yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. So today we're gonna talk about the new, some new products, some more old, but all of them belong to one and a very special lineup of AV over IP. It's called the KDS-7. We have several items here. I will talk about each and every of them. I'll show you some pictures, and I'll show you how it works, how to set up these equipment using the web browser or the special KDS-7 manager, and so on and so on. If you'd like to ask me any questions, please feel free and type them to the chat. None of the questions will be left without an answer, so I will answer every question you ask me, considering the Kramer equipment. And also, if your question doesn't interfere with the topic of today's meeting, please feel free, it's okay. I will answer your question as well. I would like to thank my colleagues. First of all, Ben, who is the CEO of Modulead. You can find later his credentials in the chat, and feel free to email him considering any matter regarding the purchase of our equipment. My name is Vadim. I am a technical expert at Kramer, and today I'm very, very glad to present you the new line of KDS-7. So let's start with the presentation. Okay. First of all, I'd like to say that nowadays the networking and the computer technologies are growing and are expanding. The IP way to build the audiovisual system is now better and cheaper if we compare to the networks 10 or 20 years ago. We require 1 gig per second LAN network in order to run our equipment and to obtain the highest possible performance. We have no limitations when we use AV over IP. Everything is limited only by the topology of your network. So it only depends on your network. And I must say that AV over IP isn't equal to HD-based-T or to DigiCAT. DigiCAT and HD-based-T are point-to-point methods of signal transfer, requiring the specific chips and working with specific currents, and they have nothing in common with the LAN technology and with the Ethernet technology as well. So we are talking about the transferring the signal via the Ethernet network, and it's kind of broadcasting, but broadcasting using not air and radio waves, but broadcasting using the Ethernet technologies. We can configure our equipment with the precision up to 1 port. As you know, you can use the regular matrices, for example, 8 to 8 or 8 to 4 or 4 to 4 or something. But when we need something special, for example, you need 19 inputs and 7 outputs only, you can do this only with AV over IP and specifically with the KDS-7 lineup. Okay, and the main point and the main advantage, as it seems to me, is the ease of setup, because you need only qualified IT guy in order to set up your specific audio-visual system using the KDS encoders and the decoders. Okay, this is how the system looks. You need the AV source, then the signal from the AV source, it may be HDMI, for example, is compressed. It is compressed and sent by the encoder into the network, and then from the network it is grabbed by the decoder, decoded, and finally you get your signal on the other side. So what limitations we can see here? First of all, it's the network, because as I've already mentioned, you require 1 gigabit per second of bandwidth, not less, because on less bandwidth, the KDS-7 wouldn't work at all. The next one, our advice is to arrange a specific VLAN in order to use with only AV over IP, in order not to noise the network, and in order not to disturb and not to interfere with other equipment that is using the network as well. Next one are the main points of the AV over IP transport. First of all, we need some compression, because AV over IP doesn't mean the same HDMI signal you get. If you are playing a Blu-ray, for example, or using a high fidelity video player, probably, you should know that on the other side of the AV over IP, the signal will be somehow compressed and there will be some signal loss. That's the kind of compromise we face when we're using the AV over IP. And the most over IP transfer of a signal is just the SDV-OE, but it's the other type of AV over IP equipment, is the KDS-8 line, not the KDS-7, which we are talking about today. Okay, then. Okay, so moving next, I'd like to say that the codec, the method of compression of the signal that is used in the KDS-7 series is GPEG 2000. JPEG 2000. It was developed in 2001 and wasn't so popular as, for example, H.264 or H.265 codecs. But later it was very good for AV over IP. So today it is used in most. It is used in the KDS-7 series. So the typical signal format is 4K 60 Hz at 4 by 2 by 0 of color space. The quality of signal is considered to be rather high, and almost no visual loss of picture. You can see it pretty well. Moving next, I'd like to say something about the equipment itself. So we have 3 different encoders. First of all, the KDS-7. It's the basic encoder we use. And I have it today It is equipped with a small screen and a joystick stick type of button on the face panel, on the front panel. It's very convenient to use, and you can easily set up or get any required information if you need it. So, also, these encoders are equipped with loop output of HDMI signals. So if you need to cascade and connect one to another, to another, to another, you are using the daisy chain method of connection. You can use this one without running any other applications or using any other equipment. The encoders and the decoders, they understand up to 999 channels. So you can transfer up to almost 1,000 channels using single network. It's very convenient to use when we are talking about a large amount of different video data coming from different sources. This may be used like technological television or systems of video surveillance, or you are building a kind of control room or something like that. The KDS-SW2 is almost the same like the KDS-7, but we have one special feature here. The USB-C interface is added, and itself the KDS-SW2 is not only the encoder for AV over IP, but it is also an automatic switcher. And I will later demonstrate to you, and I will later show you how it works. It's a pretty funny thing to have among your equipment. KDS-SW3 is all the same like KDS-SW2 but with one extra HDMI input added, and also it has the USB Type-C, and also it supports Dante. If you are working with professional sound systems, and if you're working with a digital sound like Dante, you can easily use this equipment and have the best result. Okay, the latest two boxes that I would like to tell you about is the KDS-DEC7. This is a decoder. It also uses the JPEG 2000, and it has separate ports for control and for multimedia. If you are using, for example, the encoder and the decoder, you can send some RS-232 or infrared commands or CEC commands to control the, for example, display connected to your particular decoder on the other side. Okay, and also the last but not least, I think it's very important piece of equipment. It's called the KDS-7 Manager. It is used to control and to monitor up to 120 devices in your local network, and to set up those devices as well. I will later show you how it works and what's the reason of using this equipment. It is not mandatory to use it. It is not necessary to use it. But when you use it, you save huge amount of time and labor to set up your particular audio-visual installation. Okay. We also have and recommend to use the Netgear equipment, the professional AV line that are developed for the AV over IP usage. They have special technologies like iGMP Plus in order to obtain the highest possible quality of picture you can ever get from the AV over IP systems. Well, that's all from my side talking about the presentation, and now I would like to show you some of the equipment live. So, first of all, let's take a look. Let's take a look at those boxes. You can see this is the manager. These two are the encoders, and these four are the decoders. Why am I using 4 decoders? Because today we are going to build a video wall. The decoders, they have their processor for building the video wall, I wouldn't say that it is a kind of professional grade processor for video walls, but in those situations when you just need it badly, you can use this one. You can rely on this equipment. It works just fine. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look at the KDS-7 I have a video wall back side and our manager. I just take an HDMI output and connect it directly to the input of the KDS-7 AN7. It takes a little time, but finally we get our picture. It's the picture of the KDS-7 manager itself. It uses its own operating system, and you wouldn't need only to use the laptop with the web browser to control it, to modify it, but also you can use just a single keyboard and mouse, and that's enough to control all of your system, all of your encoders and decoders. And for example, I also have a laptop here equipped with the Type-C output, and we just plug in the Type-C cable, and after that we plug in the Type-C cable directly into the SW3. And look, it takes a little time, once again, because the resolution is different, but finally we get our picture on the screen. And it is as simple as I show you. When you remove the cable, it returns to the latest connected, and the latest connected in this case is the HDMI from the manager. And since we plug away the manager, it returns to the main signal that comes from the media player. So that's it. That's how it works, the automatical switch and also the AV over IP decoder KDS-7 AN7. Well, let me show you some information regarding how to set up the KDS-7 manager. We'll take just a look. It wouldn't take much time, but I'd like to show it to you. It's very, very useful and very important. Okay. What's the purpose to have a USB-A connection on SW2? So the purpose to have a USB-A connector on SW2 is to connect it to the PC and use it as a KVM machine, using it for KVM purposes. So that's it. You can also transfer your KVM signals not only from from one encoder to another decoder, but you can switch between them and combine it the way you like. So I'll try to show you the browser page with the KDS-7 manager. That's the thing I'd like to show you. So this is how it looks. So this time I hope you can see it. Well, on the first page, you may notice that it looks pretty much like the traditional matrices. Like if you worked with, for example, MTX 316 or VS34FD or something, it looks pretty much like that. So it's common and usual to AV guy. And on every encoder and every decoder has its own particular name, and we have a small plus sign here. So when we hit it, you can see that there is also video and audio routing. And video and audio routing are completely separate. So you can send video from encoder 1 to decoder 1, and audio from encoder 1 to decoder 2 and 3. So this is how it works. And if you need some more visual perception, you can switch it to the icon mode. And also, you can see that there are some previews, and you can just drag and drop the contents from the encoders to the decoders. On the second page, you can also see that there is video wall routing, and we can make some presets. Those are made already. I made a preset for a video wall and a preset for just comparing the start signal and the end signal to compare the latency between them. So visually, you can see no latency, but it is around 30 to 90 milliseconds. It's normal for AV over IP using the JPEG 2000 technology. That's it. And moving to the next page, that's called device management. That's the main page I'd like to talk about, because this page allows you to sort only by encoders or only by decoders. For example, let's go to the decoders. Go to the network. Here you can see that some of the decoders are using the DHCP method of obtaining the IP address. The others are using the static IP address. You can see all the IP addresses here and the subnet and everything considering the IT technologies. Next one is HDMI. You can use here the buttons to enable or disable the HDCP support. If you are using HDCP, you must ensure that it is switched on. Otherwise, you will get no signal on your display. And if you are not using the HDCP protection, you can turn it off here. And finally, you will obtain way more fast switching, I suppose. The next page is considered to be used to update the firmware. On all the devices. Please pay attention that the KDS-7 has the 11th version of the update, and the others have the 15th. It's okay because it's the latest version for the SW3. I didn't forget to update it. It's okay. And control, because you can use the devices to transfer the control commands. You can transfer the RS-232 with different baud rate, with different parity, and all the attributes of the RS-232 method. Also, you can choose the IR direction from the source to the device, or from the device to the source. It depends on you, and it depends on your goals, and it's all up to you. On the next page, the page is called groups. You can group the devices, turn them off, turn them on, switch the same channel, switch different channels. It's very useful to operate when you are using a lot of equipment, a lot of AV over IP equipment, and using up to 50 or 100 or 200 devices of KDS-7s. Video wall mode, I've already talked about it. I'll show you it a little bit later. KVM USB. You can create your KVM and send some information from the encoder to the particular decoder you can choose. Please pay attention. It's very useful. And also, every of these devices can be a gateway for RS-232 commands, and also IR commands and CEC commands. I wouldn't like to recommend to use CEC commands in professional way, but if it works, it works, just like that. Also, the manager settings. Manager settings are here. You can set up the network, you can set up the time and date and security, and everything you will ever need. And all the last page, this is the diagnostics. You can see that it works normally and has the temperature of 38 Celsius. So if it runs out of the temperature border and it overheats, you will see the red label here. and some recommendations to switch it off or to cool it down. As I've already answered about the USB-A connection, we are using it to run the KDS system as a KVM in order to send the USB signals from every place to every place you will ever need. And also, I'd like to show you one page with the setup of KDS SW3 EN7. Just a moment. That's it. And 1 and 2, and here it goes. Well, this is the first page. You can enable or disable the work of the encoder or the decoder just with the press of one button. You can select the channel here. It's simple. You can stop or start the work of the device itself. On the next page, we've got here the auto switch. It's the page that is dedicated to the automatical switch that is KDS SW3 EN7 equipped with. And you can use the last connected method or priority method or manual method. We are using the last connected method today. I've already shown you how it works. And here we also may set up the delay of how the system works when losing signal. It's very useful in order not to let your display go into the sleep mode or to the economy mode. If you have a slow source of the signal that changes the input slowly, in order not to lose the signal at all. Well, and moving next, the video page. Here we have the preview screen that is very useful. You can obtain it via network and finally check whether your system is working and you are getting all the signals you need and you are sending all the signals you also need. Here we have the audio setup, some setup for Dante or AES67 is also supported. And the EDID mode, here you can set up your EDID data. For example, you can use a custom EDID, or pass-through means that the EDID is required right from the display or the projector or the segment of your video wall, LED display, or something that you use as a signal receiver. The device settings, here we can use this page to set up the network, to set up the method of streaming, whether it should be unicast or multicast if you need it. The time and date and some security options are also available here. So I think for today, it's almost everything I wanted to tell you about the KDS-7. Believe me, it's a great piece of equipment. It is very popular in the AVoIP sphere, and we get only the best opinions about this equipment. It's reliable. It's very rigid, easy to use and set up, and finally it provides you with the highest possible picture quality you can ever get using the AVoIP, considering the 1 gigabit networks. Because if you need something more special, something more quick, something more colorful, you can use the KDS-8 series that are using the SDVoE codec. It's way more kind of complex to set up because you will need the 10 gig per second networks. It's more expensive, but if you need more quality, you can get more quality paying just a little more money. So I think that's all for today. If you have some questions, please feel free to email us, and the chat will be available for a minute or two, I think so. I will also like to thank my colleagues for arranging this meeting. I apologize for some minor technical issues with the internet connection. We'll try to solve it the next time. So that's it for today, and thank you very much. Looking forward to see you again. Please wait for some news and for some special information from our side to you, dear friends. So that's it. Thank you. Bye.